Okay, here's the whole thing again, but now in super simple, chill, 8th grade level English, like we're just gossiping over snacks. Same exact info, same length, no extra stuff, no shortcuts. Yeah. Well, I liked you right away. Did he tell you I said we should totally make out? No, he didn't. It was later. I watched her act and I was like, wow, she's really, really good. Warren Beatty is 88 now and finally talking about something huge. For years, he's been the most mysterious guy in Hollywood. He's dated like over 12,000 girls, got married only one time, and never told anyone his biggest regrets. Until now. In a super rare moment, he finally said the name of the one woman he can't get over. It's not his wife. It's not Madonna or Diane Keaton. You're gonna be shocked. This girl crushed his heart back in 1974 and totally changed his life. Today we're spilling who she is and why he still says letting her go was his worst mistake ever. Warren Beatty was born on March 30th, 1937 in Richmond, Virginia. His real first name was Henry, but everyone called him Warren. His family was super close and really religious. They were Baptist, so everything had rules, even when they kept moving to different towns. His mom, Kathleen, taught drama at a high school, and the house was always full of plays, lines, and acting practice. She directed school plays all the time, and that theater energy quietly got inside little Warren. His dad, Ira, was a psychologist and teacher, serious and super organized. They lived in Richmond, then Norfolk, then finally Arlington. His grandparents from Nova Scotia were teachers too and brought their own vibe. The house was a mix of strict rules, tons of books, and random bursts of creative stuff. By the time Warren could walk, performing was already all around him. He wasn't loud or anything. He just watched people, listened, then copied them perfectly. As a little kid, he'd sit in corners for hours doing impressions of Milton Berle and Al Jolson, practicing with no one watching. Moving so much made him good at fitting in anywhere. Every new school made him better at reading people fast, but no matter where they went, he stayed kinda quiet and kept his little secret world of funny voices. When the Philadelphia Story came back to theaters in the 1950s, it hit him hard. It wasn't just a movie to him, it felt like a sign. Something clicked inside and his future started taking shape. At Washington Lee High School in Arlington, he got into football big time. By senior year, he was the star quarterback and the crowd went wild for him. He was class president and had awesome grades too. 10 colleges offered him full football scholarships, but something else was calling him. His older sister Shirley MacLaine was already killing it on Broadway, and seeing her shine made him rethink everything. He said no to every single football offer. People thought he'd go pro, but he walked away. He wanted something harder to grab. In 1954, he started at Northwestern University, joined a fraternity, and studied liberal arts. But it bored him. The rules and schedule drove him nuts. He only lasted 1 year and dropped out in 1955. Acting was pulling him way harder. He'd spent summers working backstage at the National Theater in Washington, D.C., learning how everything worked. His dad had a Ph.D. but didn't stop him. He even said maybe quitting school meant Warren was supposed to do something special. Warren went back to Northwestern super quick in 1956 just to be in one campus show, but he already knew real school wasn't for him. Real school was New York City. At 18, he got a tiny apartment on the west side and lived on peanut butter sandwiches and pure stubbornness. He studied acting with the famous teacher Stella Adler, but he still needed money. So he washed dishes, played piano in cheap bars on Long Island, and even worked deep in Manhattan's tunnels as a sandhog, super hard construction stuff. Every job taught him something and made him tougher. By age 22, he got his first real TV part and boom, everything changed fast. He started on Studio One, playing a tiny role in a live show called The Night America Trembled that aired September 9th, 1957. He was only 19. It was a small part, but Studio One was a big deal. James Dean and Grace Kelly had started there too. After that came more shows, Kraft Television Theater, Playhouse 90, and by 1959 he was on The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. Those early jobs weren't just paychecks, they taught him timing, how to stand, how to own a scene. Plus he did summer theater gigs that helped even more. In 1958 he did a play called A Loss of Roses. It closed fast, but director Joshua Logan saw him and got him a screen test at MGM. In 1959, when he was 22, MGM signed him to a 7-year contract for $1,000 a week. Crazy money back then. That same year, he met Joan Collins on the set of The Roman Spring of Mrs. Stone. They started dating and he moved to Hollywood. The contract wasn't just cash, it felt like the biggest bet of his life. He was all in. His first movie was Splendor in the Grass in 1961, playing Bud Stamper opposite Natalie Wood. The part was complicated, and so was he. He argued with director Elia Kazan about the script, begging for more real feelings and deeper scenes. He asked for rewrites and extra takes, like second and third tier. Aches. Some people called him bossy, others said he just wanted the truth. The movie was set in the 1920s in Kansas and was about teen love and mental health. Warren refused to let it be fake and pretty. He wanted it raw. Then he made a huge choice in 1963. He turned down the lead in PT 109, the movie about young JFK in the war. It would have been a giant hit, but he didn't care about that. Instead, he picked All Fall Down, playing a drifter in a movie critics loved but nobody went to see. That became his thing. He never chased easy hits. He picked roles that scared him a little. In 1964, he did Lilith, playing a worker at a mental hospital. He went super deep, studied psychology at night, stayed in character all day, and people whispered he had something going on with co-star Gene Seberg. He never admitted it, but the rumors never died. People started saying he didn't just act, he kind of lived the parts. Then came The Roman Spring of Mrs. Stone in 1961, with Vivian Leigh playing a sexy gigolo. Off-camera things got heavy. Vivian was battling bipolar disorder and got really attached to Warren. Later, he said he felt guilty because she was fragile and he didn't handle it right. Her health got worse after the movie, and she ended up in the hospital more. His famous charm started looking a little dangerous in real life. By 1966, on Promise Her Anything, he fought hard with director Arthur Hiller. He rewrote his own lines, ignored directions, and held up filming for almost 3 weeks. He was also dating co-star Leslie Caron. She said he was amazing but drained the life out of you. The crew was so tired of the drama. Warren was charming and brilliant, but he brought a storm with him. His thing with Natalie Wood started in 1959 and blew up in 1962 when she found out he was flirting with Joan Collins. She was totally crushed. Friends said she screamed that he meant everything to her. In 1962, she tried to hurt herself. Later, when Warren begged her to play Bonnie in Bonnie and Clyde, she said yes, but felt trapped by him. All their old mess spilled into the movie and made everything extra intense. People talked about them for years. In 1963, he was offered One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but said no. He didn't want to be typecast as a rebel. Instead, he did Mickey 1 in 1965, a weird, artsy movie where he played a scared comedian. He went full method, stayed in character even off camera, barely talked to anyone, creeped the crew out. The movie bombed, but critics couldn't forget how good he was. Hollywood didn't know what to do with him anymore. In 1967, he met Julie Christie on McCabe Mrs. Miller. He cast her as his love interest and fell for her in real life too. They dated 7 years, full of love, cheating, breakups, and getting back together. He proposed more than once, but kept seeing other girls, like Goldie Hawn. Julie said he was the love of her life, but also the one who hurt her the most. Paparazzi followed their every fight and makeup. His life was basically one of his own dramatic movies. Bonnie and Clyde came out in 1967. The studio only gave him a percentage because they thought it would flop. They hated the violence, the sex, the whole vibe. But Warren wouldn't budge. The movie cost $2.5 million and made over $70 million worldwide, one of the most profitable films ever back then. The famous bloody ending had over 50 cuts in less than a minute. Editor Dee Allen almost quit twice over it, but director Arthur Penn kept it. That shootout scene broke all the old rules and kicked off the new cool Hollywood era. Warren wasn't just the star. He produced it, fought for every crazy idea, and made it real. He got his first Oscar nomination. Casting was messy, too. Natalie Wood said no because of their past. They thought about Jane Fonda and Tuesday Weld. Tuesday got pregnant and dropped out. Finally, Faye Dunaway, a total newbie, begged for the part. Warren didn't want her at first, but when he saw her act, he changed his mind. She killed it, got an Oscar nomination, and became a huge star. Meanwhile, Warren started dating French actress Michelle Phillips during the press tour. She died in a car crash in 1977. She was only 28. It wrecked him. He said the guilt stuck with him forever while he kept jumping from girl to girl. The movie also smashed the old censorship rules. Bonnie touching Clyde's gun, the robberies, the bloody end. Critics freaked out and called it basically porn. Warren said it showed the chaos of the 60s. But privately, he was using late-night script readings to flirt with Faye Dunaway and others. The movie's scandal just made his personal drama even hotter. A couple years later, he did The Only Game in Town in 1970. He got paid $750,000, while Elizabeth Taylor made over $1 million. They shot in Paris only because Taylor wanted to be near Richard Burton. The shoot took forever, 86 days plus 10 more in Nevada. Warren kept demanding reshoots because he was paranoid about Burton. The movie totally flopped, made only $4.5 million when it needed almost $20 million just to break even. After that mess, he took a break from acting to help George McGovern run for president in 1972. When he came back, he made The Parallax View in 1974, a creepy political thriller full of Watergate vibes. It even used real news clips from the scandal. But in the middle of filming, Warren fired the director Alan Pakula and took over himself. Everyone was shocked. The movie got delayed and came out right when Watergate was exploding. People were freaked out by how real it felt. Taking control like that became part of the movie's story. Then in 1975 came Shampoo. Warren played a hairdresser who slept around, basically himself. He cast his ex Julie Christie and his current girlfriend Michelle Phillips. He even hit on 16-year-old Carrie Fisher on set and bragged about it later. She said he turned her down. He said she was bummed. The set was total real-life soap opera, everyone watching everyone else. The awkward stuff wasn't acting. It was just Warren's life crashing into the movie. In 1978, Heaven Can Wait was his next huge project, a funny fantasy that cost $20 million with big football scenes and fancy sets. He co-directed with Buck Henry, but secretly rewrote 70% of the script. Buck was furious and said Warren stole the movie. Still, it was a hit and got 9 Oscar nominations, but they never worked together again. By the early 80s, Warren was obsessed with Reds. He'd been researching the real guy John Reed since the early 70s like a madman. He interviewed over 100 people in the Soviet Union. It took years, and the budget blew up to $32 million. He even sold his Beverly Hills house to keep it going. He filmed in 4 countries, had over 200 speaking roles, and refused to cut even 1 minute of the 195-minute movie. Extras rioted because of pay. He made actors do 80 takes and let cameras roll forever. At the Oscars, he won Best Director and thanked Julie Christie, called her the love of his life, right in front of his wife, Annette Bening. The movie got 12 nominations but lost Best Picture. Jack Nicholson almost quit because it was so crazy. While making Reds, Warren was dating Diane Keaton. They'd started in 1976. She played Louise Bryant. Their chemistry was fire on screen, but off-screen she found out he was cheating with Julie Christie again. Their 5-year relationship ended before the premiere. Diane said it was exciting but super painful. Rumors about Goldie Hawn didn't help. Diane found love letters. Maureen Stapleton, who won an Oscar for it, yelled at Warren because of the endless takes. Still, Reds made $40 million, huge for 1981. The left-wing message hit hard, just like Warren's real-life politics with McGovern. He wore the chaos like a Evermore. In 1990, he did Dick Tracy, another giant expensive movie. It cost $47 million to make and $54 million just to advertise. He cast Madonna and started hooking up with her during auditions. The tabloids went wild. Al Pacino even confronted him on set. It felt like a battlefield. They did crazy 900-number contests to promote it. It made over $100 million, but everyone just remembers the gossip. 1 year later, he made Bugsy and fell hard for Annette Bening. He proposed on like the 3rd day of filming. They had 4 kids between 1992 and 1999. But even then, he told Annette their spark wasn't as big as what he had with Julie Christie. He had turned down The Godfather in 1972 to do Bugsy later. To get ready, he met real gangsters and studied how Bugsy Siegel dreamed up Las Vegas. That passion got Bugsy 10 Oscar nominations and gave Warren a new chapter, marriage and kids. But old habits showed up. In 1998, he made Bulworth, political comedy with hip-hop. The NAACP got mad and said it had racist stereotypes. Warren kept rewriting and reshooting, added another $5 million to the $30 million budget. It got an Oscar nod for screenplay, but the anger overshadowed everything. He turned down Forrest Gump in 1994 because it felt too sappy. Instead, he made Ishtar in 1987, total disaster. Cost $55 million, made only $14 million, lost the studio over $40 million. Filming in the desert with Elaine May was pure chaos. Warren still walked away with $5 million as producer, rich but embarrassed. At 79, he tried one last big comeback with Rules Don't Apply, a movie he'd been working on for over 30 years. He wrote it, directed it, starred in it, and paid for it himself. Budget was around $25 to $27 million. It came out November 23, 2016, and he really wanted one final win. But opening weekend, it made only $1.6 million. After 5 days, barely $2.2 million. By the third weekend, it dropped 93% and got pulled from theaters before the year ended. Total worldwide, $3.6 million, not even 14% of what it cost. He insisted on keeping a confusing 45-minute section, and it hurt the movie bad. It became one of the worst flops ever. In 2017, someone sued him for $18 million over the mess. That wasn't his only legal problem. In 2022, a woman sued him saying that in 1978, when she was 14 or 15 and he was around 35, he pressured her into sex while promoting Heaven Can Wait. She said it happened multiple times and he used his fame to control her. Warren's lawyers didn't flat out deny it. They just said the law letting old cases reopen was bad. The case got thrown out in 2023 because of a technical rule, not because anyone proved she was lying. No trial, just quiet and one vague apology from Warren about mistakes when I was young. After that, he basically disappeared. He was already staying home more after 2020, but by 2025, he almost never left his LA house. He has a finished movie with Annette Bening called The Women of the Castle, but he won't release it. He even missed his daughter Ella's big Broadway debut in 2025. Friends say he seems fragile, forgets stuff, and hates looking weak in public. Some think it's memory problems, others say he just wants privacy. Either way, he's living the lonely rich guy life he once acted as Howard Hughes. Regrets follow him everywhere. Back in the 70s, the Godfather producer offered him to write, direct, or produce it. He said no because the book didn't feel like a movie to him. That choice cost him a billion-dollar franchise. He also turned down The Irishman in 2019 and said later he wished he hadn't. He said no to Superman, Jack Reacher, and tons of huge roles because he always wanted total control, even when it cost him big. But he watch. And he showed up at the 2022 Oscars at 85. Everyone was shocked. He was shaking and could barely talk. Then he disappeared again. He skipped everything in 2024 too, including Ella's opening night. Friends say he's writing a script about helping George McGovern in 1972. He always said that was the most important thing he ever did. But now the quiet around him is loud. No official health news, just rumors. Some say old age, some say worse. He once joked, more than once, that he'd slept with over 12,000 women. One wild story says he had a threesome with Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton in the 70s, and it helped break up their marriage. No proof, but everyone believed it could be true. That's how crazy his reputation was. In 2015, a DNA test proved he had a secret kid with a co-star from the 70s. He never talked about it publicly. It got handled privately, but it rocked his marriage. Annette stayed after a lot of therapy. The kid's name never came out, but it showed even private lives leak. At home, he was actually super protective of his 4 kids with Annette: Kathleen, Benjamin, Isabel, and Ella. In 2025, when Ella did her Broadway show, he didn't go, said travel and crowds were too much, but people close say it was vanity. He didn't want to look old. But his past still knocks. Julie Christie, the one who dumped him in 1974, still stays in touch. In 2020, she and her husband even slept in his guest house when they visited L.A. He told her she's still the one he compares everyone to. That caused drama at home. He says she shaped how he sees art. In 2025, sitting in a quiet room, he said, "She's still the ghost I can't shake." Their love started after a big royal show in London in 1966. For almost 10 years, they were Hollywood's coolest creative couple. They made McCabe Mrs. Miller in 1971 and Shampoo in 1975, but when Warren wanted kids and marriage, Julie wanted freedom. She ended it over the phone in fall 1974. He was destroyed. He even offered to pay her alimony even though they weren't married. She said no way. She didn't want to be owned. Their last movie together was Heaven Can Wait in 1978. He got 4 Oscar nominations, but working together was awful. The tension was so thick the crew felt it. They wouldn't even be alone in the same room. That was the end. They never made another movie together. But he never got over her. When Reds came out in 1982, he dedicated it to Julie and won Best Director. It was the most personal thing he ever made, and he needed her name on it. It wasn't just a thank you. It was him saying he still loved her. Even 43 years later in 2025, he said he never stopped. He called her his defiant compass and his biggest regret. Old pain keeps coming back. In 2023, another lawsuit said he invited a 14-year-old to the Shampoo premiere after-party in the 80s and started months of inappropriate stuff. It was allowed because of the new California law for old cases. But in 2025, the judge threw it out. Warren said it was all lies for attention. Still, the damage stuck. His legend is fading. Not because people stopped loving his movies, but because no one can reach him anymore. He's just sitting in his LA mansion writing ideas, watching old films, surrounded by memories he can't let go of. The cameras stopped years ago, but in his head he's still making the one movie he never got to live. The one where he stays young forever, where Julie never walks away, where time never touches his face.